Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGNed and this week's episode of Crypto Corner Sat Stacker for Saturday, December 13th, nearing the end of the year. And so, yeah, in this video, I'm going to go over my kind of, overall thesis for the crypto market based on Ethereum. Going to go over some fun memes to start, and then I will get into basically the 20 different cryptocurrencies that I hold and what I've been doing with them over the past week. Some of them not so exciting, just chilling. Some of them, I have been buying the dip, and I'm looking forward to see where they take off to in the new year. But before we get into that, let's go over some memes. So this is, kind of a bearish, Ethereum meme. I do like them. This is coming from Naive Meme, and it is based on a retweet from Watcher Guru pointing out that Tom Lee's Bitmine buys more Ethereum worth $435 million. And this came out on the 8th of December. And so basically, just, Ethereum is this giant plane, super slow, and it's getting pulled by, I guess this is a tricycle. And, it's not really that effective. It's not even one of the little, cars the little trucks that pull planes at the airport. It's a little tricycle. So, yeah, I mean, this is just, I think an example of, big things are happening, little things, which, 435 million, that's a lot of money, but kind of suggesting that, it's not really that much. But Ethereum is a big thing. I think that there's a lot coming to it. And just, since we are talking about Tom Lee and Bitmine, did just want to pull up the strategic ETH reserve.xyz. Links to all this stuff going to be in the description of the video, and I will try to put it in the pinned comment as well. But what we can see over here is, effectively all of the buying has been Bitmine. We've really seen, a lack of performance as far as buying from SharpLink Gaming, the Ether Machine, Ethereum Foundation, ETHZilla down here. I know that's one that's commonly requested on the channel. But yeah, I mean, it's just really not too impressive other than Bitmine Immersion Technology, which is ticker symbol BMNR. And I should note too that they do hold now over 3% of the Ethereum supply. It looks like 3.20%. Whereas the number 2 on the list, which I must say I do hold, I do kind of wish I held Bitmine instead of SharpLink, but I do hold SharpLink Gaming stock, which is ticker symbol SBET. I've been trying to take advantage of the dips, but also recognizing that these things do take time to play out, so I'm not doing it too aggressively, and I'm not freaking out about it being low for so long. And they hold, less than 1% of the Ethereum supply, but I do imagine it is their goal to get up to that level, to move to the left side of that decimal point. So we will have to wait and see with that one. And before we get into the charts, the data well, actually, I guess this is still, the charts. But I did want to point out this tweet and kind of my response to it. I just, having fun. I think it's something interesting to point out. This is from Cantonese Cat. Great account. I think he posts a lot of really great insight on X. Also, periodically posts videos and streams on YouTube. But I will include a link to this post in the description. And this is him saying that the last year of the 4-year cycle is the most bullish for Bitcoin. And so what we see here going back to 2009 is, basically vertical moves at the beginning, but then consolidation. And so, I would view this as a bull flag, and I would think that that's what Cantonese Cat is suggesting, that we move up, consolidate, and then we break out. And that kind of got me thinking, just because we have this, kind of like mind virus of a 4-year cycle. And, it's played out in the past. It doesn't mean it's going to play out in the future, as we have experienced in 2025. But we have heard from people like Raoul Pal that we could be seeing an elongation of the business cycle, and that's what we're seeing in crypto, that it's going to be a 5 to 5.4, 5.6 year cycle, and we will not see the vertical moves until 2026, maybe in the first half, but also maybe in the second, so good to be prepared for that. But and thinking about this chart, these are the 12-month candles, or the annual or year candles. I wanted to do a little follow-up because I thought this was funny, so I just took a screenshot of it. with this meme of Don Draper from Mad Men selling the 16-year cycle. You know, it's not the 4-year cycle, and we've just seen these little moves up, but we actually just replicate that, you know, approximate 6 years into the past, and we see it moving forward. So, I mean, I think that this could be what we see, because here this is, you know, kind of like the anti-Wall Street, anti-banks phase of Bitcoin. And really, you know, just over the past couple years, we've really got into, you know, the, you know, big position, big money, Wall Street, banks, all of that types of play. The Bitcoin financial infrastructure is being built with companies like Strategy and 21, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that there's a lot to, you know, look forward to, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Ethereum, all across crypto. I think that 2026 could be a very good year, but of course I could be wrong, as if we do come back to the spreadsheet here, we can see that, you know, I was right about calling the bottom here on Ethereum at around 1400. I could have been more bullish. I could have bought more, but I did recognize that it was coming down to, you know, multiple levels there. And I might actually have Ed step out of the way for just a second so you can see it over here. These are the tops at the end of 2017 into the beginning of 2018. And we do have some trend lines from there. One being this green line intersecting with the high over here, pivot low over here in 2022. And we got an intersection over here on the linear scale, and that is, you know, the lows that we saw in April of 2025 around Liberation Day. It seemed like that could be a dip buying opportunity, breaking below this yellow trend line, so kind of faking people out, shaking weak hands out. And then since then, we have seen some upside. We have seen new all-time highs with ETH, but my expectation was to see price getting up to around $8,000 by the end of the year based on this trend line from the highs of the past. These are in 2021. We have not seen that, but I still think that 8,000 is going to be in the cards. Whether it's 2026 or later, I have no idea. Maybe it's even by the end of 2025. Crypto could be very volatile, so who knows? But you know, thinking about this was also drawn on the linear scale, and if I do redraw it on the log scale, which all of the charts that I go over in this video are more or less going to be on the log chart or the log scale here, the y-axis. If we do consider the same line, it suggests much higher prices for Ethereum. So I do think that we could be getting into, you know, kind of a vertical zone. I just don't know when that's going to be. Nobody does. And if you do want to learn more about my thesis and stuff like that, I do have links in the description of the video. I really started talking about this around Easter, or as I like to call it, ETHster. This is the URL to that video, but again, link down below. Came out on 4/20. And I did do kind of an update over here, and I ended up being wrong about that. You know, it does happen, but links to all of that, as well as the last Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, where I did kind of go into a deep dive of like risk management and stuff like that, what I'm doing with these Crypto Corner Sat Stackers. But people don't necessarily watch that, and it got kind of redundant, so I stopped doing it. And what I like to do every week is just kind of go over, you know, what I did over the past week, which tends to not really be that exciting. But looking over here, you know, I was going to say I need to move Ed out of the way, but I'll just leave him out of the way because, you know, we want to look at some of these tickers and these names. And so what you can see is in the red and the green, because I was doing, let's see, I'm blocking it, so I'm going to actually scroll up. Let's see, okay, right there. Arbitrum, I was doing $1 DCAs last week. The reason I was doing that is because I think Arbitrum, I know Arbitrum has more utility than tokens or meme coins like Pepe or the Trump coin. And so I at least, you know, for my own sanity, my own, you know, out of respect for myself, I wanted to get Arbitrum above those memes. And yeah, so I did that with the $1 DCAs, daily DCAs over the past week. Nothing too exciting, but it did overtake those. So then Pepe and Trump did move down on the list. I'm fine with that. I'm fine where they're at. As you can see, I am fairly negative in a lot of these, actually all of them that you see right here. with Arbitrum now down 43%, Pepe down whopping 68%, Trump down 48%, and then Pengu, another one that I did add to, down 50% on that one. Looks like my average is about 2.2 cents, right around there. I have been doing dollar DCAs over the past week, daily dollar DCAs, just like with Arbitrum. So I will adjust that moving forward, but we'll go over the charts and talk about that. And then Uniswap at the bottom, that's effectively just a moon bag. I was going to get rid of all of it, and I just kept a little bit to see what happens. And so I'm not planning on adding to that. I'm just going to keep it at the bottom of the list, even though, Uniswap does have more utility than Pepe and Trump. I would argue that Pengu might actually have more utility in that it is a brand that's really taken over the world. And I just have to say I'm pretty impressed with that one. And then so other ones that I did buy last week, that is going to be Solana. I've been doing $40 daily DCAs, doing that with Robinhood. And I should mention Arbitrum and Pengu buys were also with Robinhood that I've since then moved to either, my Trezor Safe 3 here or Arbitrum. I moved to the Model 1. Hopefully you can see that behind me. Model 1 right there. And those are all Trezor hardware wallets, and you can find them at trezor.io. I don't get anything for it, just trying to share good practices of storing off exchange, stuff like that. But yeah, Solana, have been adding over the past week. I'm down about 18% on that position. My average is around 162, and it closed on Friday at 132.32. And since it did go down from Friday to Friday, my kind of rule is, I'm going to cap it out at $40 a week. But if it's red here, I'm going to leave it at 40. If it's green, if it goes up next week, then I'll reduce this to 30 and so on, 20, 10. And then, I'll probably keep it at 10 until, while Solana is below Doge. I want Solana to be the number 3 in the list, which is ranked by risk, with my most exposure, 31.45% to Bitcoin, a little bit less than that, 28.44% of my portfolio, my crypto portfolio in ETH, and then below that, more speculative stuff, especially, RLC and LRC. These are ones that are much higher on the list than I would like to have them, but it is what it is. So I am, just gonna leave those there for now until I can trim, because RLC down 49%. LRC actually had some pretty nice moves over the past day, I think, and now down 25%. Whereas last week, if I do flip over, LRC, we can see down 42%, now down 25%. And it did have a spike getting close to a level that I was planning on trimming at, or I do have orders to trim at, but they did not get filled. So we will talk about that. But let's, talk about Bitcoin and talk about some levels. I got this weekly tab over here where I like to go over levels that I think could be acting as support, could be acting as resistance, and then I do go over some either alerts or orders that I plan to place, with white being alerts and or orders placed. And then you can see the key here. But yeah, let's talk about Bitcoin. It did hit the resistance level of $93,000. So let's just switch back over to here, look at the Bitcoin chart, and we can see the high on December 9th, which was Tuesday, was at $94,640.66. And so it did hit that level. Actually went higher than that. But, it has since pulled back, and we are currently trading around $90,000 as I record this Saturday morning. It does seem like, maybe we're putting in like a double or triple top over here. 93,000 still, I think that's a very important level. And that is going to be because we need to get a confirming close back above that level. And that is going to be based on the weekly time frame. I don't believe I went over this last week, so I'll just pull it up here. And so that is going to be based on, let's see, this is the weekly, and what we can see in blue here is the 50-week moving average. And let's see if I can just remove my drawings there. So we've got a little bit cleaner view of that. And the 50-week moving average has definitely been acting as support. We broke below it, and a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of people have been calling for Bitcoin to then come down to the 200-week moving average in red, which is currently at $56,300, right around there. But Cantonese Cat did point out the 100-week moving average in purple here, which is currently at $84,663, somewhere around there. And we have been respecting that as support the past few weeks. This is a new, actually, no, this is the current week. So the past 4 weeks, really, we've been closing above that level. So maybe there is some support there. Maybe there is some hope. Bringing back the drawings, which might be a little bit overwhelming. See these little arrows that I pointed out? We were respecting that blue line. But what we can see, this confirming close that I have denoted there, that is based on the low from the week that ended after the beginning of the week, Monday, November 10th. So I guess that would be the low. Yeah, that was the low for the week. So from November 10th to November 16th, I guess, the low was around 93,000. And that was the first close that we got below that 200-week moving average, sorry, that 50-week moving average, that blue line. And so we broke down below it, and we have effectively confirmed below it because we've been closing below that yellow line there. And so what we want to see is a reclaim of that low to suggest that we might be getting our footing back. We might be starting to go higher. And so, not seeing that yet, but this could just be dip buying opportunities. And that's why this is, Sat Stacker. I forgot to mention I've been doing $10 DCAs. With Bitcoin, I do have some limit dip buys placed. We'll go over those in a second. But let's just, switch back over to let's see, the daily over here. I'm just going to fast forward to the present time. And one thing I wanted to mention before I got sidetracked with that 93,000 level is this, let's see, 20-day simple moving average in light blue here. And we are currently below it. So maybe that's a little bit of concern, but, potentially we end up holding above that level, closing above that level on a daily basis. And currently that level is around 90,500. So I'd look for daily closes above 90,500. I think that would be good. And also, something to consider with downside move and consolidation, volume's been decreasing here. That could be a sign that this is a bear flag, so good to be cautious of that. But we do have higher lows being formed, higher lows as well in the RSI. But if one of these diverge from that trend, higher lows in the price of Bitcoin and the RSI, then that would be putting in either hidden or regular bullish divergence, and that's going to be based on the lows. So if we put in a lower low with Bitcoin while this is still maintaining higher lows in the RSI, I believe that would be bullish divergence. And if this RSI breaks down to a lower low while this is maintaining higher lows, that would, I believe, be hidden bullish divergence. So good to keep that in mind. I think we are just, experiencing a shakeout and or a bore out. So yeah, keep that in mind. And so because 93,000, we still haven't closed above it for the week. I still think that's a very important level. I am just going to switch this back over to white, renew that for the week, 93,000. I like it. And I'm not going to overcomplicate this by adding 95,000 or whatever, because the high on December 9th, as I had mentioned, was 94,640, right around $95,000. I'm not worried about it. I think that the next level, really, if we do get above that, that would be great. But 93,000, I think that's really just key. And maybe, with me talking about it, we got 100,000 I do have noted there. Actually, below 100,000, we have about 97,000. That is going to be the 50-day simple moving average, or SMA. So do keep that in mind as well. I guess I should really note those levels because, why do I have all these levels to the upside? We should be thinking about this more on the immediate term. So maybe I do want to actually consider changing some of those numbers. So let's consider that. So 95,000, I did mention that, so let's put that here, 95,000. All right, and then I think I said 97,000 right here, the simple moving average. So 97,000. Let's put that on there. And then after that, 100,000, psychological. Then we have, let's just do the moving averages. Let's keep it simple. The daily moving averages, around 105.5. Let's say 100, let's say 105, because maybe we don't pierce it, and or maybe an order doesn't get filled. We do pierce it, but an order doesn't get filled. So let's do 105,000, and then it looks like 108,663. So 108. So I think that's good. And yeah, so those are the new numbers that are up there. I feel good about those, and actually we do have some more beyond it. But what I might do, just to keep it simple, rather than having it aligned the way it is, I might just align it like that. And then, hey, we got the numbers, all of them over there. I'm not having to adjust this F column, so I think that's great. So I think that's good. So yeah, I mean, orders, alerts, I'm not going to change them, although I have not talked about support, so maybe I should do that. 83,000. What was the low over here on Monday, December 1st? That was, let's see, the low, 83,800. The low over here on November 21st, 80,500. And, maybe we kind of sweep down to that level. And so that would be why I also have this 81,000 there. And these are all levels that actually, I'm sorry, I bumped the mic. I don't want this to be white because I'm not placing an order there. I want this to be, let's see, not placing orders. So I'm going to make that red. There we go. That is that. But yeah, additional orders that I have here. So I'd buy $100 worth at 83,000, $100 worth at 81,000, because that would be like sweeping the lows here. 83,800, sweep the low to 83,000. But, I don't really want that to get filled. But if we do go down there, if we do sweep it, and it really, pierces 83,000, I get a fill, that's great. We keep going lower, 81,000. That would be actually respecting the low over here. And then, so then at that point, if we do continue lower than 80,500, then, I'd reassess. Do I want to be buying more? Or do I just want to be sitting on my hands? And so, yeah, that's it for Bitcoin there. I forgot to mention doing the $10 daily DCA, and I'm doing that with Strike, which I have in all caps, but they sometimes do it in caps. They sometimes don't. Just to, actually, no, I'm going to leave it like that. I think it looks, it stands out. And they only do Bitcoin, so that's the exchange that I use for daily DCA stacking Bitcoin. And let's see, I do have the $200 worth in dips. And so I'm just going to, not make that automatic. I'm going to make that white. So I got those orders placed. And I should note too, forgot to mention it, that I'm down 8% on my Bitcoin position. But no big deal there, not worried about it. But yeah, the next one on the list, this is, really kind of the basis of my thesis, the basis of Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, and that is going to be Ethereum. The only one that I am up on by 9%. So I'm happy about that. But if we do look at a chart, which we will go over later, I was actually nearly up 100%, 2x in my position. I was not trimming then, I was actually buying. And so that, really comes into kind of like the meme psychology. When everybody's posting bullish memes on something, start trimming. And you can see, some of those memes over here. And when everybody's bearish, that is when you actually want to start buying, start adding to those positions. And so, I think that we're kind of, I think a little bit more bearish than bullish, probably a lot more. So do consider that. But yeah, coming back over to here, Ethereum, let's see, my average is about 2,800. And so if it does come down to 2,800, I would, I guess, consider adding, although I do have this support level at 2,600. Maybe that's something that we'll want to reevaluate, because I haven't been buying, but I also didn't trim. I had some trim levels, and actually maybe we should just go over to the weeklies tab to look at the trim levels that I have. 3,500 and 3,800 two trim levels, but I do see 32 as acting as resistance. So let's actually look over at the chart and see about where we're at. So what was the high for the week on December 10th? We hit a high of 34,770. And so this level was hit, so I should make it, cyan. Is that? No, that's magenta. That's magenta. But we'll have to assess. Maybe I want to include that as resistance again. We nearly got to 3.5 thousand. And we got rejected there. So that's, again, why I think it's good to round down orders for trims, round up orders for buys, because you might not get the level pierced and you might not get an order filled. But that's fine. I'm fine to hold my Ethereum. We are currently below 3,200, right around 3,100. Does look like we've pulled back very nicely to the 20-day simple moving average there. Did get rejected from that 50-day SMA, which is right around just below 3,300. Maybe, we're going to be seeing a breakout above that to test it looks like 200-day SMA right there. The red line, that's around 3,560, somewhere around there. And so, yeah, I'm just going to leave these as far as orders go. And 3,200, if I put a line across right here, right around, that's around 3,300 actually. I was thinking right around here, 3,200. This is now 3,300. Maybe I actually want to up that to 3,300 because, over here, this is where I was thinking 3,200, got the bottoms here. That was some, support. That was also some resistance here. And so that could be resistance again. But we did kind of push higher, and we are holding the 20 SMA as support. So if we do go higher, I think that 33 is the new level, and that actually gets into more the meat of this consolidation over here. And so that could still be a lot of resistance there. So yeah, 3,300. So let's change that right here. And since that is adjusted, I don't plan on placing any orders there. I am going to make that red. Support level, that is something that we want to talk about. 2,600, maybe I want to make that 2,800. I don't know. Let's see, the low here on Friday, November 21st was 2,620. And then the higher low over here on December 1st was 2,716.82. But yeah, maybe we come back here, we sweep that low. That could happen. Or maybe we almost sweep the low. I don't know. But yeah, as of right now, I don't need to be too aggressive. But, this is not about me necessarily. This is about support and resistance levels, at least as I have them labeled. So, I could see it coming down to, right around there. That's 2,800. So, so let's see. If I make this 2,800, I could still leave it as orange, but then maybe over here, I want to add a 2,600, make that orange. And maybe next week, so I didn't get paid this Friday as in yesterday, I will get paid next Friday. And so after that payday, maybe, alerts and or orders not placed. I think I actually want to make that orange, not yellow. I don't know why I made it yellow. But then I think I would actually want to place an order there. That's probably why I made it yellow. Because I think that, if it comes down to 2,800, maybe just chill. But if it comes down to 2,600, maybe I want to actively place a limit order, maybe next week, or after next Saturday, after next crypto corner. But over here, 2,800, that's about my average. So maybe I don't want to be that aggressive. I really want to wait for the discounts. So, I think I'm going to do that. I think this looks pretty good. And so with that, I'm not really changing anything. I'm probably just going to leave the alerts there. Got the alert here. I'm fine. Actually, no, I think I do need to adjust the alert to, 2,800. If I am doing that and that goes off, then I lower it to 2,600. So yeah, good to consider. all of that. And actually, maybe let's look at some of my drawings. And yeah, I mean, I think that this is also a good example of technical analysis, and good to not be too emotional about things or too attached to something. This is trading in a channel, and it broke below. I could redraw this, I'm sure, but we bounced here, 2600. That support, and that is based on this 618 from the move from the bottom. This would have been in April 9th, up to the high here, corresponding with this high from August 24th. Downtrending channel, break below, get rejected here. Are we going to actually get rejected and pull back down, or are we going to break back into that channel? So that is something good to be paying attention to. But, as it was consolidating here, this, would have been a good time to sell when it was breaking down, or, when it moves up, retests, gets rejected, breaks back down. This would have been a good time to sell, buy back down here. But of course, nobody's perfect, And so just good to kind of think about that, evaluate what's happened in the past to learn from it, so then we can apply that moving forward into the future. And also, this is something that I'm just noticing, looking at this. We do have, lower lows, bigger trend here in the RSI, but then we kind of started to break out in the RSI. And so I find that to be interesting. But this is, it might actually be some bearish divergence or hidden bearish divergence. Would that be? No, I think this would be, yeah, I guess hidden bearish divergence with a lower high here, a lower high here, and then a higher high here. But, bigger picture, stepping back, we do, have these higher highs from the past. We need to get above those. We're not doing that yet. So anyways, I'm rambling. Let's come back to this. Doge didn't really do anything with that, but let's just, go through the charts here in this list. Actually, I have to adjust the order. Forgot about this because Arbitrum is now above Pepe. So there we go. But yeah, let's just kind of flip through this quickly. Doge looking pretty weak. It is, below 1432 and, below the 20 SMA. This is on the daily, and that SMA is at like 1455. So yeah, but we're below this. We've been testing it a bunch, getting rejected. Eventually, we're either going to break out or we're going to dump. We're going to get rejected. So yeah, I mean, let's look at the weeklies here real quick with Doge. 10 cents. I mean, that would be corresponding with like the lows over here. And let's see the lows. And I apologize too if there is some lag in the camera. There shouldn't be lag in the mic, and that's kind of, by design. So hopefully that's good. Yeah, the low from this would have been October 10th, when we had the liquidation event. The low was 9.64 cents. That's why I have the 10 there. And 19 cents. I'm not going to worry about it, but you do see the moving averages up there. And let's see. Yep, this is a channel kind of, on the bottom side of it. So maybe it's an opportunity to add, or maybe it is breaking down. RLC, nothing too exciting. I'm just going to flip through these kind of quicker. You can screenshot this if you want notes on any of the numbers. But yeah, I guess I will have to go over Pengu to figure out, where I want to do, a $7 dip buy. And actually, something I need to come back to over here. Let's see, RLC and then Solana. We'll talk more about that. I'm, just so you know, going to make that white. I do have orders placed for that, $40 daily. But yeah, RLC, nothing too exciting below all the moving averages, although it does look like it's potentially holding that 20-day SMA as support. Solana, I imagine, same story, but it's actually currently lower than that 20-day SMA. But yeah, I mean, I just think that there's utility, whatnot, moving forward. So I think I should hold more of it than Doge, but it is what it is. LRC, this is one that got pretty exciting and actually hit a high. I'm surprised by this. This is Coinbase data where my LRC is. And we see a high on December 10th. And that was a high of 8.81 cents. If we do look over here, I do have, let's see, some trim orders. I just don't have them noted on this. I really just have a trim order on Doge. Not really sure why when I don't with the others. But thinking about this, LRC, I have a trim level at 9.3 cents, and we got to a high of 8.81 cents. So if this does start to, get above and hold above these moving averages, as it does seem to be doing with the 20 and 50-day SMAs, has been getting rejected from the 100 and 200-day SMAs, but it has tested both of them, and maybe this starts to go higher. And so I would then look to trim fairly aggressively out of my position at these levels at 9.3 cents, 10, 11, and 12 cents. And then I would have just a moon bag to hold LRC. It would then be moved to the bottom of the list, and I'd be fine with that. It's speculative. Loop ring, LRC, it's too high up on this list. Solana should definitely be higher than it, which is either going to happen by me dollar cost averaging to get Solana up, or by me trimming LRC, managing that risk. So hopefully that's helpful. Definitely helpful for me. This is very exciting to see. It looks like this is waking up, but it could just, get rejected and pull back down to 5 cents. So do be prepared for that. For me, I'm just chilling, but I'm getting excited about it. Ondo's the next one below all the moving averages. Nothing exciting there. Fartcoin, it is above the 20-day moving average, 20-day SMA, and the 50. Is that 50? Yes. In the blue there. And actually, we did get kind of a bullish crossover here. The shorter time frame, the 20-day, crossed above the 50. And so that's a bullish indicator, but it's a lagging indicator. And that really just shows that, Fartcoin has started to move up in the past. Now it's consolidating. This could, be a fake out bull flag, and this pulls back down. Could start to lose those moving averages, but it could get another leg up to get above that, let's see, that 100-day SMA, which is right around 47 cents. And we can also do a little Fibonacci extension just to get an idea, being a little bit approximate, where this could be going. And so let's just, very approximate, just kind of those wick highs over here. You can see where the cursor is going across, but I'm just going to pull down to that low. And we could see the 100% would be getting to around 60 cents. So maybe that's something, the 1618 up to around $1. Fartcoin, it's stupid, it's fun, not to be taken seriously. I do hold some, and we can see that Fartcoin, I'm down 19%, not really that bad. I would like to add more lower based on the lows that we saw on October 10th. I don't expect them to get hit, and this is actually yellow because I can't place the order because the price is so low. So I'm just chilling. Fartcoin, speculative fun, shouldn't be so high on the list. I do have some trim orders placed. And let's actually come back to here. Looking at the weeklies for Fartcoin, that trim level, 69 cents. Of course, just fun, stupid. And then I would, close my position at $4.20. Of course, just fun, just stupid. Gotta be having fun. Otherwise, it's just numbers. It's just boring. All of that. Ethereum Classic, this is one that, I feel like the utility, the case for the utility of Ethereum Classic has kind of died with, it being like the classic chain, the OG Ethereum, but then I believe it was the fork that led to the Ethereum that we have now, that the, Wall Street, the infrastructure for Wall Street and all of that, the tokenization of everything on Ethereum, and Solana, got to have Coke and Pepsi. I think that Ethereum Classic, it just doesn't really have that kind of selling points. This I feel is just very speculative, and I could have trimmed. I could have completely exited at break even or plus 10%, I believe, and I did not do that. And so we can actually see that. What's my average with Ethereum Classic? My average is 21.48, down 40%. It looks like, and yeah, I could have completely exited my position up here in profit. I didn't do that. But that's fine. We do have lower lows over here, and it does look like we have a higher low in the RSI. So that's a very faint bullish divergence. But yeah, I do plan on trimming this. If we do come back here, do already have the orders placed. Those are going to be at 21.61 because that was previously my average to get it down a little bit lower to 21.48. But yeah, just trim in there 22, 22.27, or 22.77, 23, 24, and 25. I didn't read the numbers, but you can see them there with RLC, which is that is RLC is iExec. So yeah, but then continuing on the list, I'm not really going to go over these. Avalanche, I guess I would trim at 28. So maybe you want to note that, keep that in mind. But Cardano also lost the 20-day SMA. And then we have Avalanche here, again, lost the 20-day SMA. But, maybe these start to break out, like what we have seen with LRC. Loses it, but then once it reclaims it, things kind of get explosive. So yeah, AVAX, $28. Why do I have that there? That was a level I had drawn in the past. I think, maybe corresponding with like the lows over here, that support around $28. That's why I would trim there. Next on the list is going to be Link or Chainlink. This one reclaimed the 20-day SMA. Did get rejected from the 50, but yeah, this could be a bull flag, and then the next move that I would expect is a break and hold above the 50-day SMA, which is currently at $14.62, but maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe it pulls back and collapses and continues down. So good to manage risk and expectations. XRP lost the 20-day SMA, but once we break above, then things could look good. Litecoin attempting to get above, but still below the 20-day SMA. Aave, this one looking good, breaking above and retesting, faking out below, getting rejected from the 50, pulling back, bouncing, and now it's above the 50-day SMA, which is at 195, currently at 199.66. And yeah, I think the next potential target would be this purple line here that is going to be the 100-day SMA at around 234, and then the 200 SMA is around 261. The next one on the list is Arbitrum. I was adding to this, but I'm taking a break from adding. Looks kind of weak, not holding above the 20-day SMA. Currently below it, but could be breaking above to that 50, and that's around 25 cents. Then we do have Pepe over here. Not looking so strong. Higher highs, but not able to, get notable closes above that 20 SMA. But maybe that changes. Things start to look bullish. Right now, looking kind of weak. Trump, was looking good over here, but then got rejected from that 200-day SMA. That was around, 942 or 9.420. And, has pulled back below all of those moving averages, recently getting rejected on Tuesday, December 6th, with a high of 611, getting rejected from that 20-day SMA. Moving down to Pengu, this is one that I want to be higher on my list, so I'm going to continue to do the dollar daily DCAs with Pengu, but, it's attempted to get above, or it has gotten above the 20 SMA, but kind of rejected, currently below it, but maybe we start to see a move and then an actual test of that 50-day SMA, which is around 1.4 cents. But with that being said, I've got to come back over here to think about Pengu, and actually, it's around 1.11 cents. So let's just say 1 cent. Let's see, where is 1 cent? That's, still holding the lows over here. Yeah, so let's just do 1 cent as the level. Then I can round this down. Let's see over here. And that is going to be one that I need to place an order at, so we can see that. And so 1 cent there. And so that's going to be the dip buy level over here. Since I was daily DCAing with Arbitrum, but I'm not going to anymore, I can make that NA. And then with this one, it's going to continue with the $1 DCAs. And I can actually, I'll have to change the colors no matter what in a second. But so what I want to do is let's see, a 1 cent. Is that right? Oh, and I want to do this as 0.01 cent. and then $1 there. And so we can see that. I'm actually just gonna, well, let's see. Why does that? Okay, yeah, it'd be nice if it lined up better with the A's over there, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe because I got space on that side. No, I don't know. So we got that there. But what I need to do is place the buy order for 1 cent. So I'm going to make that yellow. I do have the dollar daily DCAs already placed for Pengu. So I'm going to make that white. And yeah, I mean, I would, in all honesty, like Pengu to be a lot higher on this list. But once I get Pengu above Pepe and Trump, then I, you know, kind of reevaluate these other ones, which ones I want to start adding to if I have not trimmed on some of them, if they have not hit resistance levels, and then just, you know, kind of just manage the percent risk exposure that I have. But then I also need to end on Uniswap. Again, you know, broke above all of these levels. And we actually got, you know, kind of a bearish crossover here with the 100-day crossing below the 200-day, the red line there. And then also, again, over here, this was kind of, you know, bullish, but that was a lagging indicator of what we saw over here. And then we saw that 20-day SMA cross then below the 50-day right there. So not looking so good, but, you know, it is something to keep in mind. Not doing anything with Uniswap. And so now let's just, you know, end this with going over let's see, let's see, where am I going? Sorry, I switched to the wrong view. And so, yep, here. And let's bring Ed back in just a second, but do want to point out, you know, the lows over here because he is going to obstruct that view a little bit. But let's get him back here for this. We can see over here that Ethereum was nearly at 100%. If I do, let's see, hover over these numbers, hopefully we can see them. ETH was up 99% on August 23rd when we were seeing a lot of bullish memes. Should have been trimming. I didn't. I paid the price for that, but because I have been DCAing fairly consistently with Ethereum, even at these highs, I am still in the green with that, whereas these other ones, I have not been so consistently DCAing. But, you know, Bitcoin, this is only down 8%, so not such a big deal. These other ones, you know, a really bad performer is going to have to be Pepe, which, let's see if I can get that number to pull up, down 68%. That's just been a total dud. And, you know, we can also see Fartcoin over here. It's kind of like that yellow, you know, butthole right there. And that's gone up some. So that looks good. And other ones that have performed well recently, what was I thinking? That was LRC. So where is LRC on this list? That's the white with the blue. And those blue diamonds, yep, that has gone up pretty nicely over the past week. So over the past week, LRC has been a great performer. Over the past like month or so, month plus, Fartcoin has been a great performer. And with those kind of more speculative, whether meme or very small cap, market cap, we can actually look over it. I should bring that up as a point that LRC is a market cap of $87 million, RLC 63 million, very, very small. When those alts start running, while Bitcoin is not outperforming, I mean, this is on a percentage basis. This is, you know, maybe potential signs that we're starting to see. We could be getting into alt season. And if these start outperforming Bitcoin, that would kind of be the definition. But if they start outperforming, that would also probably correspond with Bitcoin, ETH, the mega caps or whatever, you know, also running up. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the end of the year could be very exciting. We could be getting some fireworks, but, you know, it also might take its time into January, February, maybe later in the second quarter of 2026, maybe in the second half of 2026. These things tend to make us doubt. And then when we doubt, that's where the opportunity is. And then things take off. It's market psychology. We are the sheep. We are the little shrimp. And, you know, we don't want to be shaken out by the big whales or the fishermen, you know, whatnot. And, or the trawlers. I guess shrimp will be picked up by trawlers. And, Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of upside potential. I still think 8,000 for ETH is on the table, and I think a lot higher than that is on the table. It's just time. That is the big factor. But yeah, with all that being said, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more weekly coverage of Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. See you later. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.